The modern nervous system operates in a state of continuous, high-frequency stimulation. We process thousands of fractured inputs every hour, creating a baseline of neural noise that the human brain was never evolved to sustain. The Nataraja's Tandav perfectly mirrors this intensity. It is a high-velocity physical system, defined by rhythmic complexity and a volume of movement that appears as a storm of kinetic energy. Hidden within that storm is a rigid framework. The dance functions as a biological reset, utilizing high-intensity motion to systematically flush the nervous system of its accumulated static. This relies on a counterintuitive mechanism. The body uses extreme physical exertion to force the brain into a state of neurological stillness. Modern biophysics is beginning to map the specific vibrations produced by these movements. We can now see how the physical rhythms of the dance interact with the electrical rhythms of the human mind. Passive rest is often insufficient for a brain stuck in a high-anxiety loop. To clear the noise, the nervous system requires an external frequency strong enough to override its internal chaos and pull it back into alignment. To find that frequency, we have to look past the mythology and treat the Nataraja pose as a study in spatial engineering and angular momentum. This diagram reveals the specific angles of the limbs. The arms and lifted leg create interlocking triangles, distributing weight around a central vertical axis. Rotating on this axis, every limb follows a repeating path, rotational physics in its most efficient form. The center of gravity remains fixed despite high-speed movement. Tracking a single point, like the hand, over time, plots a sine wave, simple harmonic motion. This circular geometry creates a steady, oscillating pulse, acting as a physical broadcast. The Nataraja isn't just an image, it is a technical manual. It preserves the exact physical dimensions required to generate this specific, consistent vibration. And once the body generates this frequency, it begins to interact with the observer, or the practitioner, through the nervous system. This happens through a process called neural entrainment. The brain has a natural tendency to sync its internal electrical pulses with strong rhythmic patterns in the environment, whether those patterns are light, sound, or emotion. This chart compares these two states, the erratic, high-frequency waveform of a stressed brain versus the stable, low-frequency wave generated by the Tandav. As the brain processes the dance's steady pulse, its internal oscillators adjust. They shift phase and speed to match the external rhythm. This is a literal physical synchronization of the brain's vibrating patterns. This entrainment forces the nervous system out of its erratic state. By locking on to the stable rhythm of the dance, the brain's electrical activity is completely smoothed out, effectively converting scattered mental energy into one powerful, unified pulse. The Tandav acts as a tuning fork for the human mind, providing a clear external signal that the brain uses to reorganize its own internal environment. This reveals the core logic of the system. The higher the intensity of the rhythmic motion, the more powerful the entrainment. Peak physical movement is the most efficient way to achieve peak mental stillness. Once the brainwaves have synced with this cosmic frequency, the nervous system enters a state of high-alert relaxation. The static of modern anxiety is replaced by a sense of spatial awareness and deep internal quiet. This internal state remains stable even when the environment is chaotic. The external noise doesn't disappear, but the nervous system is no longer compelled to mirror it. To understand the Tandav is to recognize it as an active practice of alignment. It is the process of choosing which frequency your nervous system will respond to. By utilizing the geometry of the Nataraja, we can bypass the cognitive struggle of trying to think ourselves into being calm and instead use physics to reset our biological baseline. In this state of synchronization, the pulse of the mind matches the pulse of the universe. The noise stops. The vibration settles. And in the center of the movement, we find the frequency of silence.